Hi everybody, my name is April McLeaish. I am doing my project and my project on understanding and writing Western poems and stories. My internship is at a school called PepTech. It's a school for kids that one are not in school at any high schools, but the kids that are also in this school are ones that have a certain type of disability that makes it hard for them to learn, such as if they have a reading disability, a writing disability, a comprehension disability, and so on. The research questions that I came up with that work are: one, can these students understand what Western poetries, short stories mean and represent? Can they write their own interpretation of a Western poem or story? Here's a few um, stories and poems by a gentleman named Badger Clark. He is one that does not just poems but short stories. I used him because his stories and poems are really interesting and they're not hard ones for these kids to read and understand. As I do this story to the kids, I first talk about the person that they're going to hear me read, and then I have them follow along. Then I have them try their best to read certain parts that they can understand. I also use one of the famous writers from this area named Bud Strom. Bud Strom is a good poet that does truthful stories. I have the kids read along with me as I read one, and then I let them pick one out of the book and have them one at a time try to read certain parts to see how they're reading and understanding. Project overview is where I see if the kids can understand not just the poem, but understand how to read it and how to interpret it to them, to everyday life, or something like that. I also have the kids try their best on writing their own poetry and understanding it. The number of kids that I use in this were 3 kids that have different kinds of disabilities that hinder them from learning. When I first started, as you can see on the first part of it, first session, things went from good and bad. The lesson, when it first started, the kids had a hard time reading out loud and writing certain things down. But as we kept going on the writing, they started understanding more. We did the reading. I would have them read either together, or I would pick one to read, one part and I'd have another one the next day, read another part, just so I can see how the reading was going. As the sessions kept going and I kept working with different ones out of the 3 kids, some would go higher in their reading, some would go lower. But they all kind of stayed at a good pace and they started to understand to where they would start asking me questions. I only did 2 sessions because of the time concern and everything else, because of different classes that those kids had to go through. But as I noticed the different outcomes at the end, is the kids were having fun, they were enjoying writing their own poems. I'd have them, after they were done, individually read their poem or their short story out loud to the class, or I would pull them aside and I would have them read it to me, and it was just really good. Sum it all up, for kids like these ones, they need more of being able to maybe pick their own books that they enjoy reading, or help them find something that they can understand. But with kids like them that have certain disabilities, such as comprehension or reading or writing, they need to be able to have some spelling and grammar and understanding done to where they understand more as time goes on in school and in life. This was a really good learning tool for me doing this project and also my internship, because working with these kids gave me a better understanding in what I was doing with them. I am definitely going to use in the future, because it helped the kids to have fun in learning how to read and write and how to understand things and get a better comprehension of everyday things such as that. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed my slides. Oh, here's my references that I used. A lot of these were good references, good spots to help me find the right things to use, not just in my presentation and in my project, but also things that I even showed the teachers and the principal of different ways to help the students. And they also liked the fact that I showed this to them.